I'll be playing some 10-minute rabbit games. I'll be explaining my thought process during the games, and hopefully you'll be finding this video instructive. Okay, let's play the first game. We are at, maybe 2100, I'm not really sure. Okay, we're gonna play with d4, and I really like this setup. We can just go Zen mode and only the board and the timing. Nothing to worry about. Not the rating, not their names, not anything else. Okay, so they're playing the King's Indian. We play this move h3, and they do not castle. They strike with c5 immediately. That's a first, because they usually castle, then we play bishop to e3. But with this move, I'm not sure. I don't want to allow them to take, and I don't want to play bishop here. I think the move is to play d5. They would castle, but I don't know why they did this. I mean, now the pawn is glued to the center. He's got to be trying to do some, fancy stuff with the rook and the pawn to try to open up the lines, but bishop to d3, knight e2. I'm trying to castle. We also have bishop to e3 though. Bishop e3, queen d2, and castle queen side, and then launch an attack on the king side. That's also an idea in the versus the king's Indian. We're gonna play bishop to e3, then queen to d2, and then slowly but surely get our pieces out. Okay, so now he's trying to play this move b5, and whenever we take, they take back, and we win the pawn. But at what cost? Most people play this move and try to go for this, and if we play this move a4, then we are creating a weakness on a b4 for their knight to jump into with a move like this, which is annoying at certain times. So we're gonna play bishop to d3 first, because usually in the King's Indian they try to go for the f5 push or e5 push. Wow, that's very shocking to me because this pawn is really, really strong. Of course, I'm not gonna take. So I'm not really sure how to reply to this, honestly. Knight to f3 seems fine, but I think I would play knight to e2, ensuring that I would still be able to play f4 if I wanted to. And f5, and then open up the f file against the enemy king. But either this or this, and maybe queen d2 would be fine. And then just pawn push? Just pawn push. But the thing is, okay, so now they're really trying to go for the move f5. And if we capture, they will capture back. And after, we can't do much. We can play this move g4, and if they play this, we take. And after takes, they will take, and we will take. And after rook takes, we got our queen active, and then we can plant a knight in the center of the board. That's actually good. Honestly, I'm going to go for that. Because f5 will help me open the g-file against his enemy, against his king. Alright, so the queen gets active. Possibly there's some kind of bishop takes and I cannot take. My rook will be hanging. That's an idea. But the knight here is not doing much. That's why we played g4 first, because now we can place the knight on g3, and there is no bishop takes because the queen can just easily take here. Okay, we're going to play this move, and now we are really stopping this move from happening. f5. With the pawns, with the bishop, with the knight. And we would be actually winning the queen if we played queen to d2 and he was not focused, and we cook him with this move. But oh, he played it anyway. What? He played f5 anyways. So takes. We can take with the knight. He would take and we would take back, but I don't want to do that. I want to take with a pawn, or I want to take with this pawn. I want to take with this pawn. After he takes, I want to take with the bishop. And after the bishop takes, I want to take back with the knight. And I'm attacking his queen. And my knight is super duper active. Yeah, I want to take with the e pawn. Because then I would be having space to place, one of my pieces on e4. I would say I want to take with the e pawn. And if he takes, we take with the bishop. Because we want to trade the bishops. And then my knight here cannot be removed. Okay, he did take. We don't want to take with the pawn because then we will be isolating and doubling the pawns. That's bad. We take with the bishop. And if you wanted to take me, then we take with the knight, attacking his queen. And the next move will be queen d2, trying to castle and obviously trap the queen. But he's not going to fall for that. He's not dumb. I think he's in like maybe 2000 or 2100. I'm not sure. That's why I don't put the ratings. You can just put the Zen mode and you can see how beautiful it is. Just the board, the time, and you. Okay, so that's a mistake. Now this gives me a really active square for my knight, targeting his queen. Surely he's not going to play something stupid like this. Actually, it's not that stupid. Rook takes, pawn takes, and queen takes c4? Is that good though? Okay, so the queen's had to move away. Okay. We can still play this move queen to d2, and the idea is to get the bishop active and then some checks. That would be great. Let's play queen d2. The good thing that this knight cannot be removed from here. If we can play also like knight to e4, targeting the queen if you want to. The bishop there is also fine. Knight there, and knight check. Oh, what is that? What is this? e4? So if we capture, is he saying that he wants to capture here? But I can just take, and after takes, we would have this. He would give me a check, and I would block, and after takes. My position is fine. But I don't want a fine position. I want a really good position. We have bishop to g5 targeting the queen, but the queen most likely is gonna jump to e5. I can also just take the bishop though, right? I can just take the bishop. Because if I take the bishop now, there's nothing attacking the pawn on b2. So after knight takes, the knight takes, or whatever, we take like this, targeting the queen, and then we can easily castle, and we are up a pawn. That's also an idea. We can be up on a second pawn. I think that would be the best thing, because we're already up a pawn, and it would be better for us just to convert the winning position by, getting an extra pawn, and then just trading the pieces off the board and trying to castle and be safe. So I think the bishop should move. The bishop should be out of here. It doesn't matter which way he takes. I think the most active move, knight takes, but I mean, I'm not seeing hope for the knight here. We want to take like this, but hold on. See, after knight takes e4, I did not calculate queen to f3. But there's knight to g3, protecting this rook, but we cannot castle, that's the problem. So knight takes, queen here, knight g3. Do we have something else? I don't think so, but I think it's up a pawn. We're going to be up a pawn, and that's great. The queen gets active. Knight to g3, okay. We are protecting our rook. We're protecting the knight. And the second move will be queen to e2, queen takes, knight takes, and then we just put the king on an active square. We are up 2 pawns. We'll always have this connect 4, which is going to be great in the endgame. Yeah, right now we have to remove the queen off here. The queen has to go. No other option. The queen has to go. Because if the queen went away, now there is no counterplay. And we can easily play a move like queen, king to d2, and then push the pawns, maybe, trade more pieces in some way. Or we just target the weaknesses. The weak d6 pawn, the weak b7 pawn. You get the idea. Okay, so look. That's an idea for him. That's a good idea. But whenever I take and he takes back with a check and I move, that's not the end of the world though. I mean, takes a check and just king to d1 and king to c2. And what is the goal of these moves? It's just to get active and then target his weaknesses. I would say taking is good. I can also just castle though. I can also just castle long. If you wanted to take me, I can just take back. I would say that also works. But we have to be very careful because this knight is targeting the pawn on c4. So takes, king here, the knight goes back. We can play in like a normal looking move like b3. Because if I castle, he can just take me and win this pawn. So I would say I'm going to take first. Takes with the rook. That is very interesting. I'm not sure why he did that, honestly. Now we have to protect the pawn. We can play b3. Is he thinking about this check? Well, I can just go here and attack both of the rook and the knight. So the knight has to go back. But let's see what he does. This is interesting. If I were him, I was just going to play like a5, a4, trying to open up this. Because you need to focus on counterplay. You need to do something with your pawns. Okay, so he's looking at the wrong way. We have king to e2, and the idea behind king to e2 that the knight can never jump in. That's a great thing. Let's play this move. And we're also connecting the rook, so this move can never be bad. And the next, yes, we can play a move like knight to e4 because our knight is not that active. So knight to e4 would make sense, targeting the pawn on d6, and also trying to, play knight here to target the rook, and also trying to go here and trade more pieces. So we have a lot of, potential moves to play. And also this move protects the f2 pawn even more. But let's see what he does. Let's see how he deals with a disadvantage in the endgame. Yeah, definitely I'm thinking about, okay, so that's a great move. B5, that's a great move. He's trying to uh, weaken my center pawns. I can play something like rook AC1, and if he takes, we take back, but then the rook will get active. I can play a move like rook to C2 to make sure he's never gonna, you know, break here, because that's very important. We should not be allowing the rooks to go on the second rank. That's an idea. We can also take, but I don't think taking is good. So either rook C1, this knight is the problem, so we need to remove it in some magical way. I would say let's just for now play rook c1. Your opponent left the game. You can claim victory in 100 seconds. Please don't. This is a great move. Great move. Trying to open up some lines for his rook. Try to get in. Like takes. Rook here to b8. And then we have to play a rook to c2. He would then play something like rook b5, targeting the pawn twice, and I'd have to play like rook c1, and then I have to focus in some magical way to target the knight, or just trade the knights off the board, because this one is really annoying. I really hope he comes back, because this one is not over. No, it's not over. Takes, rook gets active. We do have another move though. After, takes the rook b8 and rook b1, and if he takes me, I take. And yes, I'm giving him a pawn, but in return, I want to play some checks. I want to force him either I get out, and then okay, so he got back. He got back. So takes rook b8, and I'm not sure whether to play rook b1 or rook c2. Rook b1, I'll be still up a pawn, but I want to get into the end game as fast as possible, and then we just trade everything, and we focus on the weaknesses that he got, and then we push our own pawn. After takes, rook b8, rook b1, rook takes b1, rook takes b1, knight takes c4. The thing is, this pawn on d5 is a weakness. It cannot be protected that easily. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to weaken the c4 pawn. And of course, I don't want to allow a check, because I cannot capture his rook. The knight is protecting. So that's an interesting move. If we remove this knight, we are actually removing this rook. But first of all, we need to deal with this check. So I would say rook c2, rook b4, rook c1, and I would say we are totally fine. Totally fine for now. But we need to figure out a way to remove this knight. And also just to trap the rook, like a knight here, if the knight ever moved. Or bishop there to target the knight that is defending the rook. We need to figure out a way to remove this knight. Okay, so he got active. That was what we were thinking about. If the knight takes, that's going to be a blunder. So it's actually he cannot take, because we can easily just take it. No, actually, we can just easily take this rook. And we're completely winning this. Yes, he might have some checks, but we can just easily go back. So that's actually not a good move by the opponent. Doesn't do much. So now my knight can get active. I like that. What about knight here and he takes with the rook? That's a blunder, because we can take, and whenever they take, we win the rook. So knight here, we're getting active with our knight. That's number one. Number two, we're defending our, our king side, and also we're targeting the weakness on d6. And also, trying to play knight to d2, attacking the rook, defending the pawn, and then forcing the rook back. And whenever the rook goes back, a move like f4 would target the knight, forcing him to even go further back, and that's going to give me more space. So that's a way to relieve all of the pressure on my king. Let's see what he does. He cannot counter this pawn. It's not free. It's it's a money trap. I could have played rook to c1, but in sometimes in your games you need to give your opponent what he wants, just to lure him in, and then whenever he falls for the trap, he loses the game. So you don't always have to defend. You can think about different ways to attack the opponent. Right now we don't have much, but I mean also this move works. I mean knight to g5 targeting the rook. Okay, so he did move the knight, trying to defend the pawn on here. Is there knight takes? Because after knight takes, there's bishop takes c5. And if he takes with the rook, then I take. But then he takes with this knight. Oh, that's an interesting line. Knight takes d6, knight takes d6, bishop takes here, sorry, rook takes, knight takes, and bishop here, but I don't want to go for that. Two stuff. Okay, so knight here and knight here, that could be also an idea. So knight there, just targeting the rook would have to move away. And after the rook moves away somewhere, then we can focus on defending the pawn. We can also play this move that defends the pawn, and then I can move my rook. I don't have to keep it like this. So either this or this. You know what? I'm gonna think about the most optimal move, which is just to go back, attack, and defend. Because we need to protect this, weak pawn with a minor piece, not with a major piece. And then we focus on ways like rook to b1. Let's just trade the rooks off the board, and then we're up 2 pawns, and we just focus on, getting our pieces active. So whenever the rook moves, it doesn't matter where, we have to play a rook to b1. If he plays rook to b7, then we obviously take it. The rook would take back. And then we can just play like an easy move like bishop f4, or maybe like bishop to f4. Yeah, we need to remove one of these 2 rooks. So whenever the rook goes back, and I think the best move is rook to f7. Oh, rook to f6 is bad. Why? Because it allows me to play something like this. Attacking this rook, and there's no rook to b7 to protect the other rook. So now he either weakens his structure or he takes me. Okay, that's great. Now he has nothing right here, and then we can focus on defending this pawn with the knight, possibly, or maybe knight d2, and then rook b1. Sorry, rook b2, and then we're getting active. Okay, so the bishop gets knight gets here. I don't know what is the idea behind this, but that's not good. That's definitely not good. I can go here. And what is the goal? The goal, get me activity. Now we want to play knight to d2, and we have to remove the knights all, out of here. If he played this check, that's bad. Oh, I did not see that. But it's okay. So this, he takes, we play this move. He goes here, we take, he takes back. We play knight d2. Yeah, I did not see that. That was a big mistake. I can also just get this active, and whenever he goes here, you can play like knight there. No, get here, allow the check, take, but then 2 pawns will be hanging. Come on. I always mess up when I'm down so much time, which is a big problem, but then, so check, I'm thinking just king g3. But then there's gonna be this move. I have to be very careful. Takes, we're gonna be losing, so possibly this. He goes here, and we just go after the knight. We just have to be very careful. The knight is a freaking menace. But nothing is happening right now. Nothing is happening. This move would make sense to try to go here and here. The knight getting active. That makes more sense. Targeting this. Let's see what he does. Okay, let's get active with the knight. Let's just try to, attack him. The knights are a problem, are a big problem. There's nothing we can do. The knight goes back. We can play f4 maybe. And if he went back, then we just get more activity. I think if he played this move and this, he would lose the rook. But we only have 10 seconds. Okay, he did do that. Let's play this move, and he should not go back because of this move, knight to e4, and he will be losing the rook. So he has to play this, or maybe just go back and attack me. But then I would pin him. And then he would have to defend, and then I can attack his rook. I only have 7 seconds. Would I win? Okay, he did play that. Now his knight is pinned. He has to play something like that. Okay, now we attack the rook. We also had something like this to do this, but okay, now we can push the pawn, and we're trying to get some checks. I don't know why some checks. I don't know why I even played that so fast. I have to go back. Oh, only oh. So we were playing good. Honestly, I'm not sad about this loss anyhow because I played perfectly. It's just time pressure problem that we are trying to fix. But I would say I did not make a single big mistake here in this game. We managed to gain an advantage, maintain the advantage, and squeeze the opponent. And here it was winning, but it's just, a couple of moves that were bad because, time pressure. That's totally okay. 93. Let's see what we did wrong. See, taking the bishop was bad. I was like, this is a great way to simplify. Would it say bishop to g5 or just knight takes e4? Oh, just castle first. Okay, castle first, protect the pawn with the king, and then this would be just a completely free pawn. Yeah, but the bishop, I just didn't want it to stay there. Oh, that's our only mistake. That's our only mistake to take the bishop. But everything else was completely winning. It was just a time trouble problem. That's totally fine, totally acceptable. Let's play the second game. Don't worry about losing on time. Worry about losing because you made a big mistake. Luckily, I did not make a big mistake. I only lost on time. Okay, so d5. Okay. Now we get out with the bishop, play this move e6 and c5. Okay. Most people play bishop d3. Okay, bishop to e2. Okay, a little bit passive, but no problem. c5. Okay, knight c6. And the goal with this opening is to weaken a pawn on d4 and then focus in all our our energy on this pawn on d4. Like takes, and then queen here and stuff. But for now, we want to play something like, I would say, I usually play queen b6 though. I usually play queen b6. Okay. What? What is this? Knight d2? So if I take, then pawn takes and knight takes. He plays a check and I can just easily go back. He gets his bishop active, but I play this move, and if he takes, we take, and we're completely winning. Takes, knight takes, queen takes. There are no checks. Yes, some attacks, but then we can just trade the queens. He just blundered a pawn immediately. What is this move? Isn't this just a free pawn though? Takes, knight takes. Knight takes, queen takes. The knight moves, we just trade the queens. But hold on. Pawn takes, knight takes, queen takes. It check. Oh, that's something that I don't like much. Yeah, that's a problem. But I would say I would take. Maybe this is a trap. Maybe this is a trap. So takes, knight takes, queen takes, and bishop to b5, giving me a pawn, but in return, for winning my castling rights. That's an idea. Maybe this is the idea of knight to d2, or maybe it was just a complete blunder. So it's either a blunder or a brilliant move. We don't know. Okay. So maybe now, after he takes that, he managed to see that after knight takes, queen takes, there's this check. And I don't have time to play something like a6 to stop the check, because then he would, defend the weak pawn by playing like move like this, and I don't want that to happen. So knight takes, queen takes, bishop to b5 check. King to d8, we're not the safest, but we're not that weak though. We're not that weak. Also, he has a pawn here that is weak as well. Bishop gets active, the rook gets active, my knight get active. So I would say we have time. We have time to defend ourselves after this knight takes, queen takes, and bishop gets active. Right? I would say yes. I would say yes, we do. Let's go. He should definitely take, and then ruin my castle and rights, because if he did not do that, he's completely losing, because my king will not be weak, and I can easily just get my bishop out, the knight out, castle wherever I want to, and I'm just going to be up a pawn. And at this level, being down only one pawn, you saw the previous game, I completely cooked my opponent because I was up one pawn, and then I was up the second pawn, but it was a time management problem that cost me the game, which is fine. But in this position, this guy blundered a pawn, and that's a big deal at this level. Very big deal. He should see this. He should see the bishop to b5 check. He's only looking at this queen to a4. He should be seeing this bishop to b5 check after knight takes, queen takes, bishop check, and the king has to move. I would say the best move is just king to d8. Why not king to e7? Because the bishop and the knight cannot get active. That's bad. So we go king here, and then we would have time to play this, and then, yes, we cannot castle, but with, a couple of more moves, my king will be safe. My king will be safe. Not the safest, but it will be a little bit safe. Let's see what he does. I mean, he can get the knight active, but then I would just take the knight because I learned from the previous game that the knights are more tricky than bishops. The knights were completely, delicious. So bishop knight here takes, and then we just get the bishop out of here. But no, we're giving up the bishop. That's not good. If you just win here, honestly, I wouldn't just take anything. I would just go back. So what is the goal of going back? Targeting the weak e5 square. And then move like this, but obviously not right now. We have to, make a square for the bishop because most likely sometimes we get trapped with the bishop. So what are his options? To take. To play knight to b3. I mean, the most reasonable move is just to take. No one would give a bishop just like that. His bishop is a little bit more annoying. So maybe taking like this, and we focus on I don't know. I mean, we would have the bishop bear advantage in a, not so open position, but it would be open because we're up a pawn. So it would be for our own advantage to open up the position, and then our bishops will be really, really good. So maybe that's an idea to take the bishop instead of just going back and focusing on the weak e5 pawn. The thing is, there are many moves that are right, and there's no such thing as only best move. So he managed to find it. That's great. Oh no! Come on, bro. What is knight f3? I was thinking, oh, he managed to find it, but he didn't. Now look, tip for you here. Sometimes trading the queens is good, sometimes it is not. Getting into an endgame immediately with, queen takes and we're just removing the queens off the board, that is good. But I would say maybe before he takes me back, he plays a check and then he takes with the rook. I would say that makes more sense. But if I went back, he can play queen to a4 check and I cannot block with the queen because then the bishop gets active and I lose my own queen. Therefore, maybe this move is good. But I would say bishop check was better, but I would say that he can still do it. He can still do it right here. After I take, he needs to play a check first, then he takes with the rook. Let's see if he does it. If he didn't play this check, I mean, okay, fine. Now good. Good. He managed to find it. Okay. As we said before, no king to e7, our bishop will be dead. So king to d8. Yes, he can capture. That's totally fine. Then I would say a6, bishop goes back, and then we just trade more pieces. Or, we just get more space. I would say this move, and he was just going to go back and trade some pieces. And is that good? I wouldn't say it's great, but I would say it's much better for me because I don't want the bishop to be looking at my position. Bishop back is a mistake because then, oh, come on, think. He's not thinking. So a move like b5 would force the bishop to go somewhere that is not that great. I mean, we can say that, oh, some kind of sacrifice and stuff, but I don't agree with that. Maybe we can play bishop to c5 first to stop the knight from jumping here. That's also an idea. And try to get the knight here, then a move like this, then a move like this, and then we focus on the weakness. Remember, in the endgame, you don't have to castle. Why? Because there are no queens on the board. Therefore, there's not a much of, attack. We can easily play this move. Easily. We are developing a piece. Now we can play h6. If the bishop went back, we just attack. And if h6 and he just captures us, then we take with the king, and our king will be more active. Remember, don't castle. Actually, we cannot even castle, but in general, in endgames, don't castle the king to safety because the king should be active in the endgame, right? But if there's a queen on the board, then don't keep the king in the center. Castle your king as fast as possible. Let's see what he does. Okay, he's targeting my bishop. That's number one. Should I give him the bishop bear advantage? Why? I mean, I can take, he takes, play h6, he goes back, I play g5, he goes back here. We play this move b5 targeting the bishop, and once the bishop moves somewhere, we can play knight to c6 targeting the rook and the pawn, but there's a problem. The bishop right here is defending the pawn, and we don't have the dark square bishop to target it anymore because we gave it away. Is there another way to do this? Because he's just looking to capture, and then win the pawn structure and win the pawn. That's not good. We can just go back as well, but then there is no g5 anymore because we are in line. We are, in front of the pawn. Gonna go to g5. So maybe takes, h6. Bishop goes back, g5. He goes back here, and then a move like knight to f5 would make more sense then. But I would say it's okay to give up this bishop because his bishop is not that great. Yeah, let's take it, and let's play h6. He shouldn't take, because then my rooks get active. Okay, so he did not do that. Okay, we're gonna play g5. That was the goal. And after the bishop goes back, there is no this, because he can easily play a move like h3 and just maintain the bishop on this diagonal, making sure that this will be protected. So I can play b5, the bishop would move somewhere, and I can get the knight to c6, but I would not be winning this pawn because of the bishop. So we should not be playing this because then we're creating our own weakness that he will try to target. So b5 first, the bishop moves somewhere back, then we get the rook active, targeting the knight active, targeting his rook. And then we're just, or maybe just rook c8 right now. Rook c8 makes more sense, honestly. Yeah, let's just play rook c8 first. Then a move like b5, then a move like king d7, and then rooks doubled on the c file. Because in this level, it's all about controlling more squares and being more active with your pieces, right? So yes, we're up a pawn, but we're not completely winning until we make the most use of our pieces. And how do we do this? Well, there's an open c-file. We have to make sure he will not be able to do anything on that c-file. The c-file is for us. Therefore, we have to play something like b5, forcing the bishop going back somewhere. Then we move the king because there's no checks anymore. And then we just double up the rooks. We try to go to the second rank, and then targeting these pawns and everything. And also, remember our bishop? Look at our bishop. The bishop is really, really good. The bishop is bad. So I would say for him, he should do something with his pawns like this. This bishop is bad. He needs to use it in some way. The bishop being here on d6 is a headache, right? Is a big problem for me. So maybe he should be focusing on ways to get the bishop here or here. Here it's impossible, but here on d6 is more possible. Like f3, bishop goes there, bishop here, something like that. Yeah, because the bishop right there, it's not looking good. Bishop here, on the other hand, this combination of pawn and bishop would be super annoying to deal with. But let's see if he does it. Like f3, bishop back, bishop there. It's gonna take some time. Because he cannot control the c-file. The c-file is for me. Only for me. Boom! He did find it. That's good. Now, if he takes and I take back, I'm getting my rook active. So that's not a problem for me. Even if I take, he takes with the bishop. I play this move. He goes back. I wouldn't say it's that great. Yeah, I would just play this move b5. If he wants to take, we can easily take back. This pawn cannot be targeted. It could be targeted, though. Okay, he's getting the bishop active. We have knight to c6 first. And then adding more pressure against this bishop, forcing the bishop to go back, and then placing the knight here. I would say my knight is not so active. So the way to see the best move or the best square for your pieces is to look, how can I get them active? This knight is not doing much. So I play this move targeting his rook. The rook would have to move. And then I can target his bishop. And of course, he doesn't want to double up his pawns. He would move the bishop back. And then that would give me more squares to control. So I would say knight c6 first. We don't have to deal with this immediately because there's a bigger threat. And that is the hanging rook on d4. Most likely it's going to go here. Because if he went back all the way like this, then a move like knight to a5, give me your bishop, double up your pawns, create a weakness on b3 that I can play bishop there, attack the rook, and win the pawn. So all I have to do then is to defend the a6 pawn. And that is going to be super easy for me to play. Super duper easy. Okay, he made the mistake. He made that mistake. That's a big problem. So knight to a5, the bishop cannot move, and he would have to double up his own pawns. We can get the rook active, defend our own pawn on a6, and then a bishop right there targeting the rook and the pawn, and that would be up 2 pawns, exactly like the previous game. Exactly. So let's play this move, targeting this. If he takes, we can always take back. No problem whatsoever. And the bishop cannot go back. So maybe he might be thinking about something like rook c1, but then king d7. If he ever takes me, I take with the other rook. And remember, the c-file is for me. I should not be giving him the c-file. I should be limiting the movement of his pieces, not give him stuff. He did take here. Okay. Honestly, we can just take back. No problems right here. No problems. He can try to, Alright. Remember, don't give up the control over the c-file. I move my king. If he wants to take me, I will take with the rook. So now, possibly it was better for me, I would say, to take the bishop first, then to take, then getting here, and then, possibly. So now he needs to go back. If he did not play bishop to d1, I would say he's under 2000 elo. Because if he is over 2100 and he did not see bishop to d1, because that's a clear positional move. You should not be blundering this. Double pawns in front of 2 protected pass pawns, and it's going to be complete. Okay, he did find it. Love that. Love that. Okay. And we want to double up the rooks. But there's a problem. It's not that possible. If we play, for example, rook c6, he will immediately take and give us a check. But what about rook c6? He would take and we would take with the knight. And then we just want to get active with our pieces. That's also an option. This move is not that great, honestly, after thinking about it, because there's this move. Yes, we might get active and stuff. We have to make the most use of our pieces, and I wanted to control this c-file. So this, and this pawn. This bishop is the problem. Then what do we do? Maybe we can place a knight right here. So maybe this, and this to attack the rook, force him to take, and then we would have the control over the c-file. Okay, that's another idea. Okay, so he just immediately played that move. We can go here. You play something like this. We can just easily go there or something. Yeah, I would say this is the best move by far. He cannot play this move a4 because we got it. We got it covered. And okay, now this is the best move. Targeting the rook, targeting the pawn, targeting the bishop. And also this pawn. So he would have to take. And I would not say it's good for him. It's very bad for him after this knight. Okay, we take it. We still need this pawn to be out of here because we want to play rook c4 and okay. It's not good. That's not good for him. I will place the bishop here, targeting some stuff in case the king ever... Oh my god, that's the most horrific move I've ever seen in my entire existence. Why? I wanted to play this move, rook to c4, and then he would respond with this. But after this move, he's completely cooked. I mean, I would say getting the rook more active is even better. Just targeting this bishop. And playing something like this, you get the point. He's completely losing this game. But we don't have time, as per usual, because I always... have killing positions, but then I just blunder on time. I need to fix that. Definitely need to fix that. Okay, that's an idea. That's definitely an idea. We can go here. Takes, he plays a check, and we can block. Yeah, let's just go here. After some checks, we just play rook c7. We're totally fine. If he takes, we don't take with the rook, because the rook is active. So we take with the king. He might do some stuff like this. Honestly, that's a good idea. He's gonna play a check. I can go back with the bishop. He plays a check and I can just go here He wants to attack the pawn. I don't like that. Why did I do this again? I can push. He plays a check and I can always block. Yeah, it's this. Let's play this move. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Now I can always block. He was supposed to take the pawn. He's not even thinking though. And I'm not even thinking, so don't judge. I want to play this. And then a check, I can just easily go here. After this, what? Oh, I don't have time. Just like usual. Yeah, we were completely crushing this dude. But I would say, is this a drawing endgame? Because opposite color bishops, the bishop can always land here, protecting both of these two pawns. And my king is not that active, so I would say it's a draw. At the end, we did mess up something. But as you see, I mean, look, the most important thing is playing a good opening, having a solid position, gaining an advantage. Oh, this is even winning for white because we made a mistake at the because of the time management. That's a big problem. As you see, 2 games in a row that I was completely crushing the opponents and we lost on time. It's very interesting. Very interesting to see. But honestly, I don't feel a thing. I don't feel bad because I know I played perfectly. Perfectly. Because this is what I do. I play great chess, but at the end, because look, I don't want to play 15-minute chess. 15-minute chess is like too long and it's fine, but I just don't like doing it. Okay, let's see our mistakes. So knight to b7 and our idea of removing the rook was not that great. So maybe knight here. So either knight here or doubling up the rooks. Yes, it is knight to c4. Okay, so this move is a blunder. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I just didn't see what to do. Possibly rook b2. Now because I have time to look at it, maybe rook b2, attacking this pawn, and also trying to to trade the rooks off the board, and then getting active. I would say rook b2, or possibly like king c6. Some checks and we go here and we just get active. Yeah, either rook b2 or king c6 if I had another chance. Oh, a check first. Oh, that makes the most sense. You don't want the king to go here, stop the pawn. So you would force the king back somewhere and then he would get active. Okay. Yeah. This move was a blunder. I mean, come on, 1 second on the clock. I was just trying to do whatever. Okay, so just going after the pawn, and he would play this, and then it would be a draw. Yeah. Should we play a third one? Should we lose a third one? let's just lose a third one. But honestly, I'm not sad about these losses whatsoever. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the Dutch defense. I prepared something as the Dutch defense called the Staunton Gambit. You play e4. They never expect this move. Most likely they capture. Then you develop your knight, targeting the pawn. They play this move, and the move here is bishop to g5 and g6. Would they play this move? If they play, oh nice, so they know the theory. They know the theory. Now we play f3. If they capture, we just capture with the knight. We get our pieces active. Queen out, castling queenside, and yes, we're giving up. Okay. He's playing the top engine team. What is this? This guy knows his stuff. Maybe he fell for it and he was like, nah, not again. I'm not going to fall for it again. I think we capture. I know we capture. Capturing with the knight is a big no-no. We can always capture here and then win the pawn, but it's not about winning the pawn back. Remember, it's not about winning the pawn back. It's about getting more activity. There's this line bishop to c4, getting the bishop active. And if they play bishop to f5, then we play h3 and g4, kicking the bishop away and trying to win the pawn. I would say this is the move. Let's just play this move. Getting the bishop active. We can always take if you want. But bishop there, take, knight takes. He might take this pawn. Possibly like knight to e2. There's this line. Bishop g4, knight to e2. If he played bishop g4, he's following the top engine moves. Well, how do I know this? Because I actually studied this style and gambit because it was great. Most people at this position here, they blunder and play the move d5. D5 is a blunder. Why it's a blunder? Because we can capture, and after they capture back, we get a check. They block. We win the pawn. They take back. We take back, and we're winning a pawn. We're going to be giving some forks, and we're completely crushing that position. But he did not fall for it. He played the right move. He played the other right move, so he's playing fine. But maybe he's gonna play bishop to f5, thinking, oh, I can get away with takes, and he's defending the pawn on e4. But actually, he's not defending the pawn on e4. Bishop there. He played it. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Okay, so the move is, I would say knight to e2. So as you can see here, yes, we gave the opponent a pawn, but look at our pieces. Look at them. Great stuff. Now I'd say you can play h3, because if he takes, we just take back with the knight. If I want to, I can also play this, but I don't think so. What is the best move though? There's bishop to b5, just pinning the knight. Nothing to damage the pawn structure. There's also bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes. He would take, we would take. He would take with something, we might have some discovery. Too many good stuff. Now here I don't know what to do because... I've seen something with castling. I've seen something with castling. I don't know if that's right. Castling, they would take back with the knight to make sure we're protecting, and then any kind of stuff, the rook will get active. We're targeting this pawn, but this pawn can be protected because then we're removing this knight from attack. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes right here. He might take us. We take with the queen. We allow the queen to take or the knight to take. Then we play a double check or something crazy like that. That would be checkmate. Imagine that. That would be checkmate. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, and knight to f6, covering the square, the bishop covering the square, and it is a double check, which is checkmate. I really want to go for that. I know it's not the best move, but I'm going to go for that. I'm just interested in seeing if it's going to work or not. If we're going to see the exact same line that I showed you, which is a checkmate with a double check. It's like a double KO move. Okay, let's just see if it's gonna... Because it's a free pawn. If he wants to take, we take with the queen. And if you blunder this is knight takes right there, which is a checkmate in 2. Checkmate in 1. And 2 checks. And if he didn't do anything, then I would say, just c3. We have 3 minor pieces. Okay, so he's just attacking my knight. What is this? What? Why are you even attacking my knight? What is the point? Okay, we have knight to g3. Surely he doesn't want to get his pieces completely, damaged like that. So we want to go back and target him. If he played this move, then c3, because whenever we capture back with a check, we can castle either way. And I would say castling queenside is good. Oh, ooh. What is this? Queen? d7. Wow. Why? So there's no takes because after the queen takes. But maybe there's castles. And the idea behind castles is that give me the bishop and you have to take with the pawn and damage your own structure. But if castles, there's this move bishop here. But that's going to be a fork. Oh, that's going to be a fork. And what about castles and he plays this move, bishop g4. Then h3, because whenever it takes, I take with a check. And then we can play c3. Yeah, I would say castle. I would say castles. We're targeting this twice, so we're threatening to damage the pawn structure. Think, bro, that's not a... Maybe that was actually intentional. Maybe it was intentional. Knight takes, pawn takes, and he just wants to open up lines against my king. But double pawns are going to be a weakness forever. And after knight takes, pawn takes, there's this move, knight to f4. And I was thinking about this move, but then he can just take me with a check. So maybe knight takes, pawn takes, then c3, then this move. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Takes. Your opponent left the game. Huh? What? Did he rage quit or something? This is not a. I mean, it's a positional mistake. Okay, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. We play this move c3 and then knight to f4 and then threatening this. I mean, these pawns are okay. Okay. I see you. I see you. So knight here, this. I'm gonna get more activity. So this move is gonna be played either way. You want to take me? Thank you so much for the bishop. We're gonna take. And the goal is bishop here. He's gonna be losing the game if he did not see that. Of course he's gonna see that. He's not blind or something. But he either moves the queen. Okay, he's blind. Yeah, he is. He's wow. He is the only one who's really higher rated, and he is 2200, and he's the one who lost. And those who are really lower rated than me won. That's insane. Okay, let's just check the analysis. Hopefully you're finding this video helpful. Consider subscribing if you want. See more stuff like this. Okay, let's see what we did right or wrong. I mean, how did he not see this? That's insane. That's very insane, honestly. Because what is the goal of this move? I mean, knight there. I mean, let's just say there is no bishop here, right? Why the knight is here? Why the knight is on the edge of the board? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, we played with an 89% accuracy with one big ass blunder. Okay, which is the bishop takes knight. I knew it. And I told you it was not the best move, and I know it's not the best move, but I just wanted to see if we're gonna get that, cool checkmate. I would say the best move either castles or h3. I don't remember exactly. I've seen this specific line like ages ago. I don't know if in h3 or castles. h3. And whenever they take, we take with the queen. Interesting. What about this move? We move the queen away. Okay. So that was our only mistake. That's our only mistake. Well, that's great. Thank you for watching.